live. And we're off. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 26th of March. So, maybe some good news today, we'll see. It's good news if they actually trigger, but we've got some setups, which is always a good sign. But before we move on to that, quick look at news events today. There isn't a great deal out here. We've got the German consumer sentiment already released. Sorry if the sound was a bit weaker there. I just realised my mic was slightly off. Anyway, Bank of England man speaking at 9 o'clock. We've got some UK bonds at 10, or gilts, whichever way, same. Bank of Canada speaking, Governor, Bank of Canada Rogers speaking at 12:15. Durable goods, that could get a little bit of movement. It isn't giving the movement it once used to at the moment, but we could get a bit of movement off of that. Bearing in mind the market's quite quiet. That's at 12:30, and then we got some bonds, bond auction at 5 o'clock this afternoon, or 1700 hours. And then finally, 18:30, we've got an ECB Lane speaking. Lane often gets the markets moving, so be aware of that. But that's at 6:30, so you won't. Well, very unlikely to be day trading at that point. Right, let's look at the technicals. Technicals looking a bit interesting today. I was looking for this yesterday, and well, they've done it today. I was looking last night. It's just yesterday afternoon, and some of these markets just weren't going. They're just taking their time, but this seems to be setting. Now the euro dollar here has put the lower high in on the dailies, and it's looking relatively softer. Now we've got this movement that's coming quite nicely back into its weekly pivot. I like weekly pivots for when their prices are moving in this price action. So I'm really just waiting for it to break the lows here. Now I'm probably going to look for there's just a slightly lower area of 108.35, somewhere in that region, with a stop would just be above the highs here, just a little bit outside there. So that's what I'm looking for on the euro. Cleanest of them all, or one of the cleanest of them all. The pound is also set up in a similar-ish price action, but it has put this little crafty higher low in on the way. But it does make it easy because it needs to break the low of that between those two highs. So to trigger anything for me, again, stop would just be a few pips above the weekly pivot. One thing to bear in mind on these is we've got daily pivots on both the euro and the pound, similar price action here, which could be the draw for it to down. It could also provide support. However, yesterday's support resistance from the pivot didn't last for too long. It had a reaction off of it for sure, but eventually broke through. So it is more marginally bullish here, but we're not looking to trade on this until it breaks. So it doesn't matter if it stays bullish and pushes on, because I won't be in a trade. Don't take it until it triggers. Yen, no deals on this for me at the moment. It's just tightening up in its horrible chop there. Aussie dollar, similar-ish. Now we've got this is 4 hour. Let's just go to dailies. It's weak here. It's shown signs. It did just trigger that pivot swing a little. It is above its trend line here, and you could be a bit more patient with this and say, well, actually, I'm looking more of a swing on this. I'll wait until it breaks those prior lows. I've still got an alert on that, and that's where I'm really thinking about at the moment. However, now I don't like halvesies and things like this, but this is a bit of an aggressive, maybe an entry, or in fact, it doesn't need to be a halvesy. It can be a full-size trade on this. Stop above the highs here with an add-in, but with the original stop maybe to break even. It should give enough space there. Looking down towards the S1, so it could be an add-in on the break here with maybe a bit more of a ride. So there's a different option, or an additional option. US dollar CAD, bit not doing what I'd like it to do this morning for sure, because I've got I haven't got a long on this, but I was looking for more upside. In fact, it hasn't even made it back to its weekly pivot at the moment. but it is just looking towards its daily pivot. It would be quite pleasant if it just run and stalled into this, but I should also obviously consider the upside. Well, it has got upside, but a weekly pivot untouched below just softens the idea a little bit. But when you look at the bigger picture here, at some stage this could just push and go. It's been looking quite softish there. Sentiment's still soft on the Canadian dollar. New Zealand dollar, softest of sentiments of all, but did manage a little bit of a rally yesterday. It's not got back strong. It's a bit like the CAD. It's just that bit weaker than some of the other markets there. Hasn't got back to the pivot here at the moment. And well, we'll see what happens. It's just softened up there a little, but well, it's above its daily pivot at the moment into its R1, rolling over. There is the scope for this, but the Australian dollar looks so much nicer. This is slightly weaker, of course, but the chances are, well, the risk is when it hasn't hit the weekly pivot, there's a reasonable probability it could still come up there and hit it. It's about 75% chance of being hit, so I'd rather see that hit first. Okay, the euro yen. Euro yen, I don't know why I was looking at that. I was looking at the CAD yen actually. Now this is I'm on a long position on this from yesterday. Took on the break up here. It's been dancing around a little bit here. It's slowed up as it happens. It was really looking to play the move off here. Slowed up at the moment. That weakness in the CAD's not helping. The yen's just basically stable of the two parts of it. We'll see what it does. It has got the pivot here. Well, so hopefully maybe it'll get some support off here. It is a bit of a flaggy pattern. Yeah, I'm just looking at the top of the flag there. Could break at some stage, but at the moment looking a little bit softer than I would like. Okay, leaving the currencies there for now. Oh, I just pressed the wrong button. I didn't want to do that. Is there a way I can undo what I just did? He says. Yes, did it. Phew. Right. It's alright. You can't see from there, but I just put mine in a weird order. Right, I didn't realise there was a return button. Do now. Gold. So gold consolidating where it is at the moment, away from the highs. I don't particularly like it sitting here. As I remember yesterday, the sentiment is still quite bullish on gold overall. The big money is still quite bullish. May just hold it up there. It might get more buyers coming in here, but it's not far away from a key or major top there, so less likely. The only thing I would say with this price action, technically, when it's consolidating away from the high, there is that scope that it could just roll away. It had been working all right previously here. It more of on the bigger scale of things, more of a flaggy sort of pattern, and it pushed up. That's fine. But here it's now consolidating on a sideward bit of action away from the highs. I don't like those. Just saying. Starting to sound like a teenager now. Just saying. Okay, oil. So oil has been over the period here, drifting its way up. The sentiment is still pretty bullish on it from the big money. That's not to say it won't pull back, but they're not worried about a couple of dollars. They're looking at the big scale of things. This is a little bit of a retrace at the moment. Maybe we'll get a bit of support into the weekly pivot, but it has slowed down again here. Support areas, maybe this pivot here. It's not the prettiest of pictures. It's starting to look like it. If it was to find support around this area, it's in a bit more of a channel than anything else. And we've seen lots of these channels running through the day, and then suddenly we get a more of a break for whatever reason. Yesterday it did crack off there at the equivalent of 2 o'clock. Just flew. But anyway, we'll see what happens. S&Ps apparently down on the day yesterday, but I mean, just look at how this movement's gone in there, and when people start saying, well, it's all over now or whatever else, don't get too tied up in all that. Yes, it could be it could be all over, but would you risk it? It was all over all the way back, all of these other occasions, and it's pushed up. It's too much strength to the upside overall. Yep, a bit of support in a move down to its weekly pivot, great, but maybe that will give support for a buy. Nasdaq, similar situation here. It's sitting around its highs here, and obviously the Dow the same. The DAX, well, yet another up day yesterday, just drifting its way up there, pushing up. Small retraces of buys or have been buys. Yes, it's gonna get affected at some time. FTSE just slightly off at the moment, but well, yesterday inside bar, it's really just following the other markets at this stage. Nothing too much happening. I will just click on Bitcoin, crypto, Bitcoin, only because off it went again. Yesterday pushing up there quite solidly, starting to go back towards those highs there, so never a sell, but potentially there was opportunities as it on the dip on the buy maybe, but anyway, moving okay at the moment. Again, at this stage, probably spoken too much already. That's killed it. Right, I'll leave it there. I wish you a great day's trading on the YouTube site. Other guys, I'll speak to you in a moment. Bye for now.